Hi. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about pennies. Pennies are so common, they're so obvious, they hardly seem worth the notice. But just so you have a better understanding of what rides around in your pocket, I wanted to look at these for a minute. Back in 1909, this was the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, and to celebrate, the U.S. Mint changed the penny and began to produce the Lincoln head penny with Lincoln's profile on it. And on the back side, we have heads of wheat, waves of amber grain or something like that, and these became known as wheat pennies. And the same basic design ran all the way through 1959. And then celebrating the 150th birthday of Lincoln's birth, the pattern changed and they kept Lincoln on the front, but they changed the back and they put the Lincoln Memorial on the back of the penny. And then we get up to the 200th birthday of Abraham Lincoln in 209. And so for that year, they came out with not one, but actually 4 different patterns of a penny. And we have one with the Capitol being rebuilt, which took place during his administration in the Civil War. We have Mr. Lincoln as an attorney arguing before a court. We have a log cabin, such as what he was born in. And we have Mr. Lincoln splitting rails and stopping to read a book. And so these all came from the year 2009. And then in 2010, the design changed again. Again, Mr. Lincoln on the front, but on the back we have what is called the Union Shield. And this has been the pattern on the back of the penny ever since 2009. So starting with 2010, this is what the pennies look like. Now, the other day, I was up at CVS. This was before the shutdown and things really got started. But I was up at the CVS, and with the change they gave me a couple pennies, and I didn't pay particular attention until later, when I noticed the penny they gave me was really pretty strange. It was, instead of being copper color, it looked like it was silver or gray in color. Now, I think you all know that copper is not magnetic. I take a magnet and it has no effect upon the copper. But if I put copper near iron or steel, it attaches itself. It sticks to the magnet. So, with the magnet, I go over the pennies and what happens? Nothing. Until I get to this strange penny that I got from CVS. Now, looking at it more carefully, I looked at the date, and it was 1943. 1943 was during World War II, when copper was in short supply. It was considered a critical war resource. So rather than making pennies out of copper, they decided to make them out of steel and then plate them with a little bit of zinc. And this is what this is. This is one of the war pennies, and they didn't prove to be very popular. One reason is because of the color. They look so much like a dime that store clerks might accidentally take one thinking it was a dime and give the wrong change. Another problem was the zinc is very, very thin, and just as is the case with this one, sometimes they begin to rust. So you end up reaching in your pocket, and instead of some nice clean coins, you end up with a rusty handful of steel pennies, and that was no good. So the very next year, they went back to using brass and copper once again. Well, the question is, how do you know something is authentic? How do you know something is really what it says it is? How do you know a person is really being authentic to God, even though they may claim to be a Christian? Well, here's a verse or two that may help you in that. we read in 2 Thessalonians, "See that none of you repays evil for evil, but always seek to do good to one another." So we can't just behave any way we want to if we're going to be claiming to be a follower of Christ. And then another verse from 1 John chapter 2, verse 3. "We can be sure that we know him if we obey his commandments. Whoever says, 'I have come to know him,' but does not obey his commandments is a liar." So that's something we all have to work to do, is to do what Jesus told us to do. Not just the easy things, but even the hard things, if we are going to claim to be God's children. Thank you.